Now that we've learned about the Populist Party and how they paved the way for this Progressive Party, we're going to learn about progressives and the limits of progressivism. It might seem kind of like a short, kind of odd PowerPoint, but there is a huge project sandwiched in between these two PowerPoints, so it might seem a little scattered just watching this video. But, alright, so the Populists paved the way for these progressives. The progressive platform looks fairly similar to the Populist platform. Government should be more accountable to the people. The government, instead of keeping their hands off of society, they should be more involved in society. Government should curb the power and influence of wealthy interests, therefore eliminating the corruption and influence of kind of the wealthy, and listen more to the average citizen. Government should be given expanded powers so that it can become more active in improving the lives of its citizens. And lastly, the government should become more efficient and less corrupt so that they could competently handle an expanded role. Progressivism is in the people. The people of America take on the progressive goal. So not only is it a political party, it is a kind of a social movement. And we'll learn about social reform as well as legislative reform. The first reform, social reform, is grassroots reform or change started by the people. Examples of these reform movements: the charity movement, social gospel movement, settlement houses, the temperance movement, and purity crusaders. All examples of various social reform movements that start by the people. Some of the causes of these various social reforms: tenements, slums, corruption, all of the city life sparked these various reforms. The second type of reform is legislative reform, and this is change of life through change of laws. So society is going to change because of laws from the government. So we did learn about how there are all of these great changes that happen during the progressive era. However, there are shortcomings. The United States wasn't the perfect country after the progressive eras. One of the shortcomings is in education. In 1870, 2% of 17-year-olds had a high school diploma. In the early 1900s, successful mandatory education laws are in 31 states. So we're doing all right in the 1900s. So there have been some changes and some improvements. However, not for everybody. This quote is from an African-American student. We got the greasy, torn, dog-eared books. They got the new ones. They had the field day in the city park. We had it on a furrowed, stubby hillside. They got the wide mention in the newspaper. We got a paragraph at the bottom. We came to know that whatever we had was always inferior. So, the educational reform did not reach all areas of society. The African Americans were kind of left out. African Americans are kept away from the polls by a poll tax, so you had to pay a fee to vote. Literacy tests, so you must be able to read, write, and display knowledge. And a way to get poor, illiterate, Caucasian people to go to the vote, and to not have to take these tests and pay the tax is the grandfather clauses, where you're exempt from these requirements if you had ancestors that already voted. This is going to help out poor white people because they've had ancestors for many years that were voting. However, African Americans are only 2-3 generations out of, not even that, roughly 2 generations out of slavery, and they, with the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, so that African Americans wouldn't have ancestors that voted. And a key Supreme Court case during this time period is Plessy v. Ferguson, where the Supreme Court of the United States determines that as long as the facilities are equal, you can have separate facilities. Another obstacle to African American freedom in the entertainment industry are these vaudeville shows, more specifically the minstrel show, where it's white actors in blackface, so they have black makeup put on their face, kind of mocking African Americans. So this shows, again, the racial tensions and the obstacles to African American freedom. Again, a limit of the progressive era.